Hi, I'm Joseph Patrick with Lamont Bros, and I'm here in Oregon City to take a look at a home that has some dry rot in some beams. In this video, I want to give you some key things to look for and think about as you're looking at your home to determine if there's dry rot damage and what you should do about it. So here we are at the back of the house. These beams run completely through the house, and this is what they look like before we pull anything off. And so we've got, again, you can see you've got your flashing here, that's painted in. Anywhere where that paint is cracking, it's wicking moisture up. That's bad. So let's pull this off and see what it looks like. So that comes off and you can see a couple things. You can see this outside one. This is really rotten here. It's actually not terrible in here, at least the way it looks, but my finger pushes and you can see some softness there. Let's do the screwdriver test and see how bad that looks. So I can push in with my finger and I can feel soft, but with the screwdriver test, it's, goes in 1/4 of an inch there. Here it goes in like 1/2 of an inch. So there it looked solid, but it goes right through 1 inch. That's not good. And then you can see this. I mean, that's really bad. That goes way up in there. But what we're concerned about is right here. This is where we're most concerned about. So this one on the outside is the worst. My screwdriver does penetrate, but 1/4 of an inch or so, which is not horrible. So there's a chance that we could cut this off right here and then treat that, scrape out any rot we can scrape out, treat it with a wood rot compound, and then support the rest of the roof structure with lookouts from the top. That's going to be the most cost-effective way to do this project to solve the dry rot issue. Install lookouts from the top to support this barge rafter, and then basically just replace this trim piece to cover up where the beam was. Then, at a later date, the client can install some faux beams if he still wants that look, but that way we can solve his problem today and prevent the dry rot from continuing to rot out his home from the inside of the wall. All right, we're at another corner of the house. This is probably the worst beam. We've pulled off this bottom part of the cladding and it looks bad. This has been leaking this way for quite some time. Again, the problem, first step is identify the problem. Second step is identify the extent. Third, then you wanna determine the right solution for the problem. So the cause is pretty clear. It's the same as all these others. Poorly installed flashing. We've got water wicking up. We've got water wicking behind. That is something that we can solve by tearing this off and either replacing it and flashing it correctly or somehow other supporting the barge rafter. To start with, let's figure out the extent as much as we can without completely tearing the wall apart. So if you look here, this is, I don't even need to do a screwdriver test here. This is obviously very bad. And it just goes right up in there. But I'm interested in this support right here. Like, what does that feel like? Let me see if I can push it in there with my hand. I'm hitting some solid, which is, that feels solid. That's really good news. So that means that even this really bad one, there's a possibility we could tear this out and treat it with a dry rot compound. Now, this isn't good here. I'm getting pretty deep in there. So likely there's going to need to be some more wall repair inside here. So either this siding comes off, we repair it, put it back, or we address it from the inside, which is just drywall there. So that's easier to do, and we may end up doing it that way. So there's two solutions here for this client with his beams. We could tear the beams off, replace them with new beams that support the barge rafters, but that's a very expensive solution given the span of the beams. The beams span up to 20 feet through his main open living space, and it's gonna be very expensive to replace that beam all the way from one load point to the other. So what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna end up cutting the beams back, and we're gonna end up installing lookouts in the roof, and those will support this barge rafter. The barge rafter is that piece right there. That's the last rafter that supports your overhang. So that'll allow him to install faux beams later if he likes that look. But for now, it'll solve his dry rot problems that are rotting out the inside of his house. Feel free to check out our YouTube channel, check us out on Instagram and Facebook. We're going to be putting out more of these educational content pieces to try to help people understand their homes and what they can do when they see issues like dry rot. Thanks.